Hey folks, I tested the card, came with the camera, and it's definitely a genuine 16 gigabyte card. Tested without errors. I won't be using it though. My typical daily input or intake is 7 to 12 gigabytes, so technically I could use it, but it's going to be a cheap card. I'm not going to trust it. But if I stay out longer, something happens or something, I need that extra time. So the minimum that I use is 32 gigabytes, and that gives me 3 to 5 hours. And that's plenty for me. I won't go smaller than that though. It depends on what camera I use and how long I'm out, I guess. So, happy to see it was a real card anyways, it wasn't a fake one. Hey folks, Canada Day today, so I'm all dressed in red. I do have an all red shirt and red and white shorts. I don't know where either of them are. So that's as close as I could get. Nothing's open today, so I'm just going to go for a tour and grab me a coffee. So I was going through the menu on this thing last night, and I discovered it has a low light mode. I like that idea. So before I go out, ow. I guess my tire wasn't going flat because it's still holding up. So it's probably just low on air, so I'm going to put some in that before I go out. But I'm going to take a couple brushes out, and I'm going to try to blow the motor out, see what happens. Hopefully all goes well. I don't know. I'll have to wait and see what happens. So I'll do that now before I go out, otherwise the motor's going to be too hot to handle when I get back. I'll get that taken care of, and we'll see what happens. Like I figured, no dust whatsoever. It's all paste in there. Arrgh. I don't know what to do about that. I don't know how to remedy that. It doesn't fit. It goes in okay, but it won't go all the way in, and the charger port is not quite fitting. So what I'm going to do, it goes in far enough I can tighten the screw down, hold it in place. I won't be able to put the back door on, but it's okay. The screw will hold it in place. I'll put the elastic around just in case. The lens comes far enough to the front that I can make use of that. I get no vignetting whatsoever. Actually, I guess there is a little bit there. Dang, I didn't see that. Oh, I want to go all the way forward. It looks like the lens is all the way in the hole. Okay, I gotta turn it off. Looking in. I'm not sure why it won't go all the way in. Screw's not in the way. Yeah, I'll have to do some inspection. It'll be very disappointing if I can't use this mount. Okay, on further inspection, the lens is hitting the very top. So I'm going to take the filters off, get my Dremel out and grind some of that off. Hopefully that screw won't be in the way. And I'll grind out this little slot here. That'll be the easy part. And hopefully that'll work. Success. Now I gotta grind out that corner for the charger plug. Got it. Anyway, I gotta let it cool down again. Plug it in, it automatically turns on and starts recording, just like my old SD cam used to. Oh my goodness. I didn't know that was going to be so much work. Let's go for a tour. Test it out. So my initial reaction, what the... Looks good. Colors are fine, it's nice and crisp. I don't think the video is any better or worse than my previous SJ cam. But it's squished. The video is vertically squished, it's compressed. Yeah. So, the whole video is like this. I checked the manual that comes with it. The paper manual is pretty much useless. So I found me an online manual for it. It gives a whole lot more detail. When I initially set up the resolution, I went with 1080p because that's what I use. 1080p and 30 frames per second. There's a feature in this camera, it's called 1080p 30 Super. That's what I have it set on. So, I'm not sure what's super about a squished video, but apparently that's what it is. So, my initial test is blah. So, the next day, I had it set on just regular 1080p, and well, that's a whole lot better. I initially chose the Super because, well, I've never heard of that before. Now, well, that sounds good, right? Yeah, apparently not. So this camera is capable of 4K. It's not my first 4K camera. My Eken H9 was. But this is my first SJ cam that's capable of 4K. And it's got Wi-Fi control and all the good stuff on this one. Stuff that I won't be using anyways. I upload in 1080p, so there's no point in even using 4K. So, 1080p, 30 frames is basic. That's what I use. So, things look a whole lot nicer. This camera has WDR, which is wide dynamic range, and I had no idea that actually worked with video. So I thought, well, maybe that's just for photos. Because what it does is it takes, if you're doing photographs, it takes one regular at the basic settings, and then it takes one a little overexposed and one a little underexposed, and it puts the three together, and it adds definition to bright areas and dark areas. Well, this one's in the video setting, so apparently it works with video too, so I got that set. Can't go wrong with that. So, everything's looking good. And I have the gyro image stabilization set. Yeah, it's working beautifully. So I'm going to explore different places and see how it works in different situations. I'm impressed. This video is straight from the camera, folks. I haven't adjusted exposure at all. I haven't added any image stabilization. This is straight from the camera. I am impressed. So apparently this stabilization is working even better than my video editor. And you may have noticed if I turn really sharp or really fast, then you'll see the side of the camera case show up. And I'm not worried about that at all. Minor detail. So a couple places I want to go. One is really rough, the road that's under construction, and I'm going to go down the school trail because it's all closed in, and the image stabilizer that my video editor has tends to get confused when there's objects really close by going by quickly, so kind of curious to see how that's going to turn out. And that is the reason I paid so much for this camera. I'm so happy it's working. And it makes it worth it just for that. So, happy. So now, I need to test this low light feature. Well, it works, but the picture is really fuzzy. I'm not overly impressed by it. If I had it in the waterproof case, without the polarizing filter, it might look a little better. I just don't like how fuzzy it is. It's very low quality. However, without the low light feature turned on, it's my worst night performer yet. So I guess the conclusion here is this will not be a camera that I can use at night. I brought my H9 with me, which seems to be my best performer, just to be comparison. and, well, there is no comparison. I don't know, maybe some night I'll take the polarizer filter off and see how it turns out, but I suspect it isn't really going to change that much. It might be a little bit brighter, but the fuzziness is still going to be there, because according to the online manual, when the low light mode is on, the image sensor will compensate for the lighting conditions at the expense of frame count, doubled frames. Turning the feature off retains the current set exposure and lock to the selected frame rate regardless of lighting conditions. Well, I'm not really sure what that means as far as being fuzzy, but when I check the file, it's still 30 frames per second, so frame rate hasn't changed at all. However, the quality is AVC, which is when you have the ability to set the quality of the video. This is the lowest quality you can get. So that explains what's going on, why it's fuzzy. It's really very cheap quality video. So I guess I'll keep this for my daytime videos, and I'll stick with my H9 for nighttime. Like I say, there may be a time when I might want to try it out, see what happens, but for the most part, I'm just going to stick with the H9 for night. So, a couple more things I want to check, but first, I found the Batmobile again. Somebody suggested it was a slingshot, and that's exactly what it is. It even says slingshot right on the side of it. Oh, I like yours better. That's a sweet machine. So what I want to check is when the files change, I want to see if there's a gap in between them. As my previous SJ cam didn't do that. My newest one leaves gaps, which did not impress me. So I'm going to try this one and see what happens. Yeah, it's a bumpy situation with the image stabilization on. It'll be interesting to see what happens. So the file changes right here. And well, that looked like a gap to me. I am not impressed by that. I was hoping. So it happened at a very bumpy area, and I kind of figured that maybe the image stabilization data wouldn't transfer to the next file, but I really wasn't expecting a gap in between the files, so that doesn't impress me. So I got one more thing I want to check, and that is do fast speed video and see how the image stabilization works with that. I can't comment on that because I won't know that until I output the file, because once I speed up the video, then my computer won't play it. It'll be jerky, so I won't know. So I guess that's it for this, and overall, I guess conclusion is I don't regret buying this. I did buy it for the image stabilization, and that's working perfectly. That on its own will save me hours. When I do a video that's got a lot of high speed in it, those are the sections that I put the stabilization on, and well, generally that's the last thing I do before I output the video. And I usually select all the areas that need stabilization and set them to go all at once, and then I go to bed. So, and come back the next day. So basically it takes me an extra day just to do that. Unless there's only 1 or 2 areas, then it'll just take a couple hours or something, but it's still a long time worth of processing. So the fact that the camera's doing it for me, priceless. So I guess I'm happy. And I'm a little bit disappointed with the gap in the files, but you know, it is what it is. I was getting that with the last camera, so at least it's not a step down. So, hey, thanks for watching, guys.